Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker with Tools. It's time for a good old throwdown between DeWalt and Milwaukee, so let's go ahead and get into this on Tinker with Tools. Now this comparison video is definitely not one that I would naturally make between these two companies, but the viewers have asked for it a number of different times, so I think it's time that we finally give you what you want and compare these two drills. Now the reason why I say it's not one that I would naturally make is because oftentimes when comparing two different companies, it's rare that for each one of their different subcategories to line up perfectly to another brand. And this is definitely a case where you have that. See, DeWalt offers several different levels of compact drills in their lineup. Milwaukee, on the other hand, does not have as many different kind of subcategories in their drill lineup. So normally I would compare this more to the Atomic lineup because power and spec-wise, that's really where it compares to. But because DeWalt's Atomic drill driver is just really not that potent, I think a lot of people naturally try and compare this to the slightly more powerful XR version and try and see how it compares to it on paper. So today what I want to do is take you through this exact comparison, talk about all the specifics about how they compare on specs, features, and all the different details, and then actually run through some comparison testing. At the end of this, I want to be able to tell you what the difference is and if there is a substantial enough difference to warrant the price difference that exists between these two models. Before we do any comparisons, let's first introduce the models that we're going to be comparing today. Over on the DeWalt side, this is going to be their Compact XR model DCD801. The 801 is what I'd call maybe a mild refresh over the 800. I have a separate video comparing those two so you can kind of see the difference. But really the big innovation here was that they now include their Perform and Protect, which is their anti-kickback safety tech that they do now have in this drill. So if you go ahead and use the drill and it binds up on you, it will actually cut out the motor and prevent it from kind of ripping out of your hands. Now this model specifically touted a performance increase over the previous generation, but as we found out, that's really not the case, and really the performance that they were talking about, I think really is just attributed to the battery that came kitted with this, which was their new Power Pack 4.0. That is something that I think a lot of you have seen in different videos, and it is one of the reasons why I don't think many people are impressed with this new model. But if you take away the fact that it was not necessarily the performance improvement that you see, this is still a very solid drill when compared to other competitors. It's just maybe not the big improvement that they kind of touted when they first released the drill. Now over on the Milwaukee side, this is going to be the M18 Compact, and this was released about a year and a half ago, and really is one of the smallest, most compact drills on the market today. And it offers maybe better performance than I think what it really kind of comes out on paper. When they first announced this, I was not truly impressed with the specs on it, but as soon as I got my hands on it, was able to test it, and especially compared it to other models from other companies, that's where this little drill starts to shine quite a bit, and I really think is a rather impressive drill. So then the first category that I think we're going to be comparing these against is obviously going to be in size. Now, compact in everyone's lineup kind of means different things to different people. As I mentioned, the DeWalt does have a more compact model, and we have compared that to this Milwaukee. Now, when you move up to this Compact XR, it does grow a little bit in size. In fact, it's going to be about a ½ an inch longer. The Milwaukee is going to be down at 2.28 pounds bare tool, whereas this one's going to be up at, I believe, 2.88 pounds bare tool. And so in terms of size, there is a difference between these two drills, but still, at the end of the day, they're both very compact drills. It's just if you want the ultimate kind of lightweight experience, I think you're going to tip more closely to the Milwaukee. Performance is definitely going to be a category that swings back in the favor of the DeWalt. Milwaukee touts 550 inch-pounds of torque with their drill and up to 1,700 RPMs. Now with their US models, DeWalt typically talks about these drills in terms of unit watts out, and they'll rate this tool at 1,050 unit watts out. But if you go to the UK website, you can see the prior generation was going to be touting 90 Newton meters of torque, which roughly equates to right around that 800 inch-pounds. So even if there is no improvement in this drill from the prior generation, you're really going to be at a substantially higher torque number than what you're going to be seeing with the Milwaukee here. Now let's just talk about some of the features of the tool. Both of them are going to come with a ½ inch all-metal chuck. I will say that what you see on my Milwaukee is not the standard chuck that comes on the drill. The chuck that came on there originally was just kind of a slippery version of their M18 chuck, and I really just didn't care for it. I eventually swapped it out for the M12 fuel model. With that chuck improvement, I would say they're pretty even on chuck, but with the base chuck, the one that comes with the tool, if you were to go out and purchase it today, I definitely would tip in favor of the DeWalt. Lighting, once again, it's going to come down to maybe more on the DeWalt side, because DeWalt does have their familiar adjustable work light that not only is brighter, but you can kind of adjust it around. It also features their 20-minute option where it will stay on for 20 minutes and allow you to use it kind of as a work light. Milwaukee does just have a single LED with no real features or adjustments on it down here on the base of the tool. And while it's not inherently bad, compared to the DeWalt, it obviously is going to fall a bit short. Now, like I said, in terms of technology in the tool, this does feature anti-kickback technology where it is going to prevent the tool from kind of slipping and rotating out of your hands. Milwaukee doesn't have that, but I will say at the lower power level, it is maybe a little bit less crucial that you have that technology on here because it's just truly not going to be as common that you run into situations where that occurs. They both feature a 2-speed gearbox, but on the DeWalt, you're going to be getting 15 distinct clutch settings, where down on the Milwaukee, you're only going to be getting 12. So then next up, let's go ahead and talk about batteries that each one of the brands offers. And I think if you're going to have a compact tool, you should also have a compact battery offering to go with it. Over on the Milwaukee, there's really kind of two main compact battery options to choose from on their M18 platform. They do have their CP 2.0, which is going to be just kind of the battery that comes kitted with this. It has standard 18 650 cells. It's a pretty basic battery that's been around for quite some time. They also then have their high output 3.0 battery, which is going to feature a little bit more advanced 21700 cell type that is able to kind of sustain a higher power delivery onto it, making it so it should be a little bit more performant on the tool. Now over on DeWalt, compact battery options are a plenty, and really we're going to focus in on some of their more premium options because I truly think that is one of the advantages of the DeWalt platform. DeWalt offers you both the PowerStacks 1.7 and the 3.5 options on there with their stacked pouch cells inside the battery. And then, as I mentioned a little bit previously, they do have their new 4 amp hour power pack battery. Now, I get that these batteries are not directly relatable in terms of what they offer, but I think if you're going with this platform, you are going to take advantage of some of those more premium options, and they do offer DeWalt a distinct advantage that pretty much no other brand can really match in terms of the wide variety of different battery options they have, both in compact and premium options. So then with the performance testing for these tools, now that we got the comparisons out of the way, we are going to be doing two distinct types of testing. The first one is we are going to be testing the individual tools with the different batteries that the brand offers to kind of establish which one is going to be the most performant battery, and then also what is the difference between the batteries that they are going to be tested with to kind of see how much improvement you can get by going with a particular battery type. The next, we are going to be doing some head-to-head testing on the best battery offered by each brand in that kind of compact category. And we'll go ahead and see directly how the tools compare and be able to give you all the results at the end. And with that first part of the testing, with Milwaukee, comparing just those two batteries, we did see a 13% performance improvement by going with that high output battery. And it really is the most performant and compact battery that they offer. Now, like I said, DeWalt really is all about giving you all those different choices in their compact batteries. And because we tested mostly more premium battery types, you just don't see as big of an improvement by going from kind of their smallest option up to the most performant. There was nearly a 9% improvement by going with the Power Pack battery over some of the Power Stacks. One of the things I will say though is with the Power Stack batteries, you're really not gaining any performance improvement by going to the 3.5 over say the 1.7. I say go with the 3.5 if you're looking more for runtime, but if all you want is just the lightest weight option, that 1.7 amp hour battery is really a pretty awesome performance benefit to the tool, and definitely is still going to keep pace with even some of their larger, more performant batteries. So then with the final testing of the performance, kind of going with every test we ran today, combining it and looking at what they did on their best battery option, I don't think it's a surprise that the DeWalt comes out with a 20% advantage in terms of just overall raw performance. But I think the more interesting question is whether that 20% performance improvement is going to necessarily be worth the size and weight gains that you're getting over here. So I think then it's going to come down to the individual user to determine if the size gains over here on the 801 are necessarily worth going to this drill over something slightly more compact like what you're getting over here. Now clearly DeWalt, like we said before, offers more compact options, but they're just not necessarily as impressive in the performance category as what you're seeing out of this smaller Milwaukee. Now when it comes to price between the two models, I think that's where there's also a pretty clear distinction between there. Now when you're talking just straight bare tool pricing, the Milwaukee comes in at $149 currently, with the DeWalt being up at $179. When you're talking about kitted form, that's where it gets a little interesting. See, more than one time, Milwaukee has offered a single battery kit with a single 2.0 battery for this tool for just $99. And actually, that's what it's currently being offered at if you can find it in stock. So $99 for a single battery kit really starts to drive home the value proposition over here with Milwaukee. Now, obviously, the 801 is going to be a newer drill, so I just don't think we've seen what kind of sales it's going to be offered with yet. So really, you're not getting it much cheaper than that $179 price point. And if you go to the kit form, you're going to be all the way up at $269. But with that $269, you do get two of the 4.0 Power Pack batteries, and I really do think they're really awesome batteries. That's actually how I bought the kit, and the main reason why I did was simply to get those batteries for so cheap. But there's still a technology difference between these tools, obviously the performance difference. So it really comes down to, is the performance benefit and some of the technology that you're getting over here, or the safety tech, going to be worth the added dollars that you're going to pay for this drill? Or is your use case going to be better suited with the more budget-friendly, maybe slightly less powerful, but definitely more compact option from Milwaukee? I really do want to hear from you in this comparison, because I get that it's not the most natural comparison point, but given that so many of you wanted to go ahead and see it, I want to know, do you go with the slightly more budget-friendly option, definitely more compact, still decently performant, or do you just go for a much better performance boost and go ahead and get the new 801? So go ahead and let me know down in the comments which one you would go with. And obviously I get there's some brand loyalty that's going to play into this and existing battery platforms. But let me know in this comparison which one you think is the more impressive option and which one would get your attention more easily. If you like this sort of video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Make sure to turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I put out a new video. As always, though, thank you for all the support. And until next time, I'll catch you on Tinker with Tools.